Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here. In this video we're talking about MAME, Zelda, N64 and more. Let's get started. Alright, we'll kick things off here talking about arcade emulator MAME, and MAME version 0.251 has just released. Now this changelog is huge, it's well written and I recommend checking it out. I'll leave a link to it in the description below since we're just going over it at a high level. So pretty much like every other month, we've got some bug fixes, improvements, new features, and new games. For example, for Konami, there's 2 new handheld LCD games that have been added. Skate or Die and Bill Elliott's NASCAR Racing. I actually like Bill Elliott's NASCAR Racing. As for the new features, there's pluggable controller support for consoles and computers from Sega, NEC, and Sharp. Sega Mega Drive mouse and 4-player adapter support for an AT-Mega based paddle controller that works with export versions of the Sega Master System, NEC PC Engine mouse support, and support for the DEMPA, I think I'm saying that right, Micron Soft XE1AP, the first analog gamepad. If you've never seen the XE1AP, here it is in all of its glory. It's definitely something. Next up, we're talking about Java-based multi-system emulator Emulicious. Emulicious is good for the Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Sega Master System, Game Gear, MSX, and MSX2, and Emulicious just got a brand new update. This update is arguably small but huge if you're on a Mac, so we've got some bug fixes and a brand new feature here, added support for gamepads on M1 Macs. If you are using Emulicious and you're on a Mac, you might want to update to this version. Emulicious is 100% free and it works on a whole bunch of systems provided it supports Java. Moving on, and we're talking about N64 emulation with Simple 64, and Simple 64 just got a very interesting update. So Simple 64 version 2022.12.6 has just released, and if we take a look in the changelog, there's changes to the build system to support Arch 64, which is also ARM. And ARM is also on mobile devices, specifically Android. Now, Simple 64, for those who may be unaware, is based on m.a.m.e 64 Plus. So I'm curious to see if this might get an Android release at some point in the future. Moving on, and we're talking about PSP emulation with PPSSPP, and PPSSPP version 1.14.2 just released. I was pinged a couple of times about this one today, and I took a quick peek at the changelog and it appears to be bug fixes. If you're using PPSSPP on Android, expect an update to the app hopefully in the near future. If you're using it on PC, I'll drop a link to this GitHub page in the description below. Feel free to check it out. And moving on, and we're talking about Nintendo Switch emulation on PC with Ryujinx, and Ryujinx also got some pretty significant updates. Version 1.1.497 of Ryujinx improves Vulkan performance in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Breath of the Wild, Xenoblade Chronicles DE, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And it's worth pointing out that Xenoblade Chronicles DE and 3 should now perform better on Vulkan than OpenGL. And on top of that, version 1.1.499 of Ryujinx may improve performance in certain games on integrated GPUs and on dedicated GPUs when using resolution scaling. So you want to keep your Ryujinx versions up to date. Just open it up, and when it asks you to update it, make sure to click yes. Next up, we're still talking about Switch emulation on PC, but switching over to Yuzu, and the paid early access testing build of Yuzu just got a really interesting update. So early access version 3266 adds IR camera support for your Joycons. Yes, your Joycons can now send IR camera data to Yuzu. It is worth pointing out that this is the paid early access version of Yuzu, but these changes normally make their way into the mainline build within a week or two, or even sooner. Moving on, and we're talking about a retro handheld. I think the most recent one I reviewed on this channel, the Anbernic 35XX. Thanks to Team Black Seraph, there's a brand new operating system for this handheld, GarlicOS. In my opinion, this is a pretty big breakthrough. If you're used to the m.a.e. Mini, you'll be right at home with GarlicOS. It adds in more functionality and more usability for the 35XX. Anbernic, if you're watching this video, team up with Team Black Seraph. This is a huge value add for that handheld. Now, it is worth pointing out that GarlicOS isn't complete and perfect just yet. I mean, this first bug I would argue is pretty huge. Hardware accelerated rendering doesn't work. However, GarlicOS is completely free. It's available on this Patreon page, and I'll drop a link to it in the description below. Moving on, and we're talking about a couple of things here for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. The first thing is this piece of artwork that's been circling around. Apparently someone from an Italian GameStop has got their hands on this promotional artwork and has been sharing it on 4chan and all over the internet. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. In my opinion, after taking a look at this, it does look fake. The artwork looks a little bit off. Everything kind of looks off here. Now, the next piece of news for Tears of the Kingdom, I would argue, is far more interesting. It's a limited edition Switch OLED console. Now, I'm not entirely sure if this one is real or fake. The more I look at it, the more fake it looks. Although I do want it to be real because this thing looks really cool. Let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below. Are you team real or are you team fake? As far as I know, these images did originate on Resetera, and most people here are team real. I am team on the fence and highly skeptical because Nintendo seems to not release great consoles when they have the opportunity for it. Anyways, again, let me know what you think in the comments below. And last up here, this one is completely wild and completely unexpected. A complete non-public internal build of Horizon Forbidden West with complete debug-enabled Decima engine build has leaked publicly. No surprise here, there's a whole bunch of YouTube videos showing off this preview leaked gameplay. If you want to check one out, I'll leave a link in the description below, and feel free to compare this preview build with the real deal. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a ton today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos, don't tempt fate, save your state, and Happy New Year!